Well, how do you look at this entire debate, right? And what does India really need to do? What kind of support does the domestic industry need? And you represent the domestic industry. What kind of support do you need for boosting solar equipment manufacturing capacity? And do you think the solar PLI scheme in its current form does it have the right kind of incentives to boost the industry's demand? Yeah.
At the outset, I would like to thank ET Energy World for inviting me to speak in this panel. I think we have turned a full circle in the last decade, as Ashish was observing, that 10 years ago we could not have thought of this kind of discussion, although there was a discussion on anti-dumping duty, etc., and all kinds of pressure from the manufacturers, developers, etc. But I'm happy that costs have come down, growth has taken place, and we are now in a position to look at manufacturing much more than what we used to say earlier. And very good ecosystem is being developed. This overall 25,000, I think 19,500 and another 5,000. So 24,000 crores as PLI coming up is definitely a very good sign. I am very happy that our members are also part of all that PLI part. But at the same time, I would like to observe that MSMEs have not benefited. And we should ideally have, 3-4 ingot to cell manufacturers and satellite module manufacturers with high efficiency, modern technology, etc. So satellite module manufacturing is something that we should incentivize people who want to grow from 250 gigawatts to 500 gigawatts, from 500 gigawatts to what I mean is 250 megawatts to 500 megawatts and to 1 gigawatt. So if there is some incentive for that, that will be welcome. At the same time, all these points are very important, that ahead of the curve technology, etc., we should incentivize, R&D effort should be there. And also, to my mind, one of the important inputs is manpower. So this manpower part also, I think we'll have to concentrate on if we are really going for these high manufacturing capacities. At the same time, I would like to also mention that let us remember that the world is fast moving ahead from gigawatts to terawatts. Whether you go by Bloomberg analysis, IEA, or whatever it is, we will soon, as predicted earlier, we ourselves from Global Solar Council, we had predicted that we'll grow at the rate of 200 gigawatts per year worldwide. Already this year we are at 183 plus, and next year 100% we are going to cross 200. And terawatt will certainly be achieved. So the kind of demand that is there worldwide, and India is seen as a very important market. Even in the Global Solar Council, whenever we discuss, people say that India, we just cannot, ignore. It is one of the best destinations. At the same time, we from our side, that is the country, we have to strengthen all this infrastructure, as we said, as Ashish had also observed, the transmission line upgradation and all those things. But at the same time, I would like to point out two major points. One is, at the end of the day, we have to be cost competitive and our quality has to be world class. Whatever done, PLI, this ecosystem of approved list of manufacturers, basic customs duty, whatever we have done, it should ultimately result into affordable cost and cost competitiveness and quality. In fact, when we started National Solar Federation, our motto was making solar energy affordable, and we are glad that it has been achieved, of course, with the efforts of all our members, and of course, joining hands with the Government of India on all occasions. Second point I would like to mention is implementation is the key. We may have good policy, but if you do not implement it well, create all kinds of bottlenecks, and both from the government side and the private sector side, then implementation, if we do it properly, I'm sure that India will certainly achieve all these targets, which, as Ashish said, is really not difficult, though they are tough targets. That is, let us not fool ourselves. The targets are quite steep and tough. On the finance side, as I said, everybody is looking to India. India is seen with high credibility as far as financing is concerned. And I hope that some of our erring states will realize that if one state does this, mistake, the entire country will suffer. Therefore, all contracts to be honored properly, which in India, it is certainly being honored, but one or two exceptions, they can create all kinds of problems. So let us see that that does not happen.
Okay, okay, thank you. So, on financing, I wanted to point out, I'm told that, we have the highest kind of, the cost of finance that we have for domestic companies. In India, as compared to other geographies, the cost of finance is very high, right? And it's a major impediment, right? So,
before Tim replies, shall I try?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, because you see, after all these things in the last 10 years growth, last 2 years personally, I am focusing on finance, though I'm not a finance man, but I would like our members to get finance at better rates, because our own country, we have very high cost of finance. And let us say the big players are able to get finance at a good rate internationally, etc. But people in the MSME range, again, that is, let us say 10 million to 100 million, whose requirement is there, nobody looks after properly. So I am focusing on that. If anybody can help in that, our rooftop program will also progress, which is lagging behind, can really progress well.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for that initial comment. And I think the most important point here is to note that the point about MSMEs that you are saying, they haven't really. There's a time when they require a lot of handholding, and it has to be done now rather than later. And the point about finance, of course.
Module price rise this year, and maybe in the next year also, is a temporary phenomenon. And world over, we expect the price to go further down. So electricity cost also, as we said, 2 rupees. We are talking somewhere around 1.5 cents. By all these Bloomberg and IEA and our own Global Solar Council, IRENA, all analysis. Therefore, we have to strategize all our actions looking into that. There is going to be pull, as I said, even green hydrogen will require green electricity. Therefore, the demand is not a problem. But certainly the cost competitiveness is going to be, which I would like to again emphasize.
Yeah, so I also wanted to ask you, Mr. Mehta, if you keep looking at a lot of different markets for solar, how do you look at technology adoption that is happening in India? Vis-a-vis what happens in other countries. Where do we stand? Are we significantly far behind, or where do we want to catch up?
No, I am glad that you asked this question. As you know, Europe has incentivized. They have EU has announced a very encouraging policy, and therefore the futuristic at that time, which is no longer futuristic, heterojunction technology plants are coming up. in Germany and at other places. In India, my friends are offering, but I do not know whether they are takers or not. We are talking to people, but I'm sure that sooner, the way we adapted from that 330 watts or 250 watts module to now 540 watt module and even 700. Likewise, this technology also, to my mind, will see the light of the day. In fact, one of the MSME companies which I have mentored has just entered into a contract to supply BIPV plant, BIPV solution to a large group. We are fast catching up on technology also. So we'll have to, maybe accelerate that.
Okay, fine. Thank you.